Good evening, friends. Thank you again for joining our daily Buddha Puja, chanting, Paritta Chanting and Meditation. So if your friends do not have Facebook, you might want to direct them to our YouTube live channel. Ask them to look for lmmc.online, and then you can join us even if you don't have Facebook. Okay, so so today is Thursday. So today we have our meditation session, weekly meditation session at 7 o'clock. So we practice mindfulness meditation today. Other days we practice metta bhavana. So you can ask your friends to join as well if they're interested in developing mindfulness, which is quite important, especially during this lockdown time as well. So to start our Buddha Puja, can you say Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa 3 times? Buddhaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi, Dhammaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi, Sanghang saranang gacchami. Dutiyampi buddhang saranang gacchami. Dutiyampi dhammang saranang gacchami. Dutiyampi sanghang saranang gacchami. Tatiyampi buddhang saranang gacchami. Tatiyampi dhammang saranang gacchami. Tatiyampi sanghang saranang gacchami. Panatipata veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami. Adinādāna veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami. Kāmesu miccācārā veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami. Musāvādā veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami. Suramēraya majjapamādaṭṭhānā veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami. Tisaranena saddheṃ pañcasīlaṃ dhammaṃ appamādena sampādetabbam. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Itipiso bhagavā arahaṃ sammā sambuddho viccācarana sampanno sugato lokavido anuttaro purisa dhamma sārathi sattha deva manussānaṃ buddho bhagavāti. Buddhaṃ jīvitaṃ yāva nibbānaṃ saranaṃ gacchāmi. Ye ca buddhā atītā ca ye ca buddhā anāgatā. Paccapannā ca ye buddhā ahaṃ vandāmi sabbadā. Nati me saranang anyang buddha me saranang varang. Etena sacca vajjena hotu me jaya mangalam. Uttamangena vandeham padapam suvaruttamam. Buddheyo khalito doso buddho khamatu tammamam. Swakhato bhagavata dhammo sanditthiko akaliko. Ehi passiko opanayiko paccattam veditabbo විඤ්ඤෝහිති තමං ජීවිතං යාව නිබ්බානං සරණං ගච්ඡාමි යේච ධම්මා අතීතා ච යේච ධම්මා අනාගතා පච්චප්පන්නා චෛ ධම්මා අහං වන්දාමි සබ්බදා නත්ථි මේ සරණං අඤ්ඤං ධම්මෝ මේ සරණං වරං ඒතේන සච්ච වජ්ජේන හෝතු මේ ජය මංගලං උත්තමංගේන වන්දේහං ධම්මං ච ත්‍රිවිධං වරං ධම්මේයෝ කලිතෝ දසෝ ධම්මෝ කමතු තම්මමං සුපටිපන්නෝ භගවතෝ ශාවක සංඝෝ උජ්ජපටිපන්නෝ භගවතෝ ශාවක සංඝෝ ඥායපටිපන්නෝ භගවතෝ ශාවක සංඝෝ සාමීචි පටිපන්නෝ භගවතෝ ශාවක සංඝෝ යදිදං චත්තාරි පුරිස යුගානි අත්ථ පුරිස පුග්ගලා ඒස භගවතෝ ශාවක සංඝෝ ආහුනේයෝ පාහුනේයෝ දක්ඛිනේයෝ අංජලි කරණීයෝ අනුත්තරං පුඤ්ඤක්ඛෙත්තං ලෝකස්සාති සංඝං ජීවිතං යාව නිබ්බානං සරණං ගච්ඡාමි යේච සංඝා අතීතා ච යේච සංඝා අනාගතා පච්චප්පන්නා චෛ සංඝා අහං වන්දාමි සබ්බදා නත්ථි මේ සරණං අඤ්ඤං සංඝෝ මේ සරණං වරං ඒතේන සච්ච වජ්ජේන හෝතු මේ ජය මංගලං උත්තමංගේන වන්දේහං සංඝං ච ත්‍රිවිධෝත්තමං සංඝේයෝ කලිතෝ දසෝ සංඝෝ කමතු කම්මමං කනසාරප්පදිත්තේන දීපේන තමදංසිනා තිලෝක දීපං සම්බුද්ධං පූජයාමි තමෝනුදං ගන්ධ සම්භාර යුත්තේන ධූපේනාහං සුගන්ධිනා පූජයේ පූජනීයන්තං පූජා භාජන මුත්තමං වන්න ගන්ධ ගුණපේතං ඒතං කුසුම සන්තතින් පූජයාමි මුනින්දස්ස සිරිපාද සරෝරුහේ පූජේමි බුද්ධං කුසුමේන නේන පුඤ්ඤේන මේතේ නචෝතු මොක්ඛං උපහං මිලායාති යථායි ධම්මේ කායෝ තථායාති විනාශ භාවං අධිවාසේතුනෝ භන්තේ පානීයං පරිකප්පිතං අනුකම්පං උපාදාය පටිගන්හාතු උත්තම අධිවාසේතුනෝ භන්තේ ගිලාන පච්චයං ඉමං අනුකම්පං උපාදාය පටිගන්හාතු උත්තම අධිවාසේතුනෝ භන්තේ සබ්බං සද්ධාය පූජිතං අනුකම්පං උපාදාය පටිගන්හාතු උත්තම Vandami cetiyang sabbang sabbadhani supatithitam Saririka dhatu mahabodhing buddha rupang sakalang sada Yassa mule nisinnova sabbari vijayang aka Patta sabbanyutang sattha vande tang bodhipadapang Ime ete mahabodhi lokanathena pujita Aham pite namassami bodhiraja namatte Kayena vaca cittena pamadena maya katang Acchayang khamami bhante bhuri panye tathagata Kayena vaca cittena pamadena maya katang Acchayang khamami dhamme sanditthika akalika Kayena vaca cittena pamadena maya katang Acchayang khamami sangha supatipanna anuttara Ettavata ca amhehi sambhatang punya sampadang Sambe deva anumodantu sabba sampatti siddhiya Ettavata ca amhehi sambhatang punya sampadang Sambe bhuta anumodantu sabpadang Sambe satta anumodantu sabba sampatti siddhiya Idam me ñātīnaṁ hotu sukhitā hontu ñātayo Idam me ñātīnaṁ hotu sukhitā hontu ñātayo Idam me ñātīnaṁ hotu sukhitā hontu ñātayo Imina punya kammene mami bala samagamo Satang samagamo hotu yava nibbana pattiya Idam me punyang asavakkaya vahang hotu Samba dukkha pamunchatu Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Okay, so thank you for joining us, and if you have not joined us before, every day at 6:30 we do Buddha Puja, followed by chanting for good health and happiness at 6:45, and 7 o'clock we do meditation. So today is our weekly session on mindfulness meditation at 7 o'clock. So today we chose to chant Ratana Sutta. So we alternatively chant Girmananda. So today Ratana Sutta chanting will be dedicated to all of you participating for your good health, happiness, and success and prosperity. We also bring into our minds everyone affected by COVID-19 and their families and wish them all good health and happiness. May they gain speedy recovery. We also dedicate the chanting to all the key workers, including NHS staff, doctors and nurses, for their tireless effort, wishing them good health and happiness. May they gain more courage and determination to continue to serve the patients and their families. May everyone enjoy good health and happiness. So please listen to the chantings with attention and respect. Samanta cakkavalesu atra gacchantu devata saddhammang munirajassa sunantu sagga mokkadang Paritta savana kalo ayang bhadanta. Paritta savana kalo ayang bhadanta. Paritta dhamma savana kalo ayang bhadanta. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Yani bhutani samagatani bhummani vayani antalikhe sabbeva bhuta sumana bhavantu athopi sakkacca sunantu bhasitam tasmahi bhutani samita sabbe mittam karota manusya pajaye Divācaratto chaharanti baling tasmahi nirakkata appamatta yang kinci vittang idhavahurang vasagge suvayang ratanang panitang nano samang attitathāgatena idampi buddhe ratanang panitang etena saccena suvattiyotu Kayang viragang amatang panitang yadajjaga sakya muni samahito natena dhammena samatti kinci idampi dhamme ratanang panitang etena saccena suvattiyotu yang buddha setta parivannai sucing samadhimanantarikanyamahu Samadhinatena samona vijjati idampi dhamme ratanang panitang etena saccena suvattiyotu ye puggala attha satang pasattha cattari etani yugani honti te dakhineya sugatassa savaka ete sudinnani mahaphalani idampi sanghe ratanang panitang etena saccena suvattiyotu ye suppayutta manasa dalhena nikkamino gotama sasanam hi te patti patta amatang vigaihe laddha mudha nibbuting bhunjamana idampi sanghe ratanang panitang etena saccena suvattiyotu yatinda ghilo pathaving sitosiya chatubhi vati bhiya sampakampiyo Tathupamang sappurisang vadami yo variya saccani avecca passati idampi sanghe ratanang panitang etena saccena suvattiyotu ye ariya saccani vibhavayanti gambhira panyena sudesitani Kincapi te honti busappamatta nate bhavang attamang adiyanti idampi sanghe ratanang panitang etena saccena suvattiyotu Sahavassa dassana sampadaya tayassu dhamma jahita bhavanti Sakkaya ditthi vicikiccitanca silabbatang vapi yadatti kinci Catuha payehi ca vippamutto caca bithanani abhabbo katung idampi sanghe ratanang panitang etena saccena suvattiyotu Kincapi sokammang karoti papakang kayena vaca udcetasava abhambo sotassa paticchādāya abhabbata dittha padassa vutta idampi sanghe ratanang panitang etena saccena suvatti hotu Vanapagumbe yatha pussitagge gimhanamase patamasmin gimhe tathupamang dhamme varang adesai nibbanagaming paramang hitaya idampi buddhe ratanang panitang etena saccena suvatti hotu Varo varanya varado varaharo anuttaro dhamma varang adesai idampi buddhe ratanang panitang etena saccena suvatti hotu Khinang puranang navang natte sambhavang viratta citta ayatike bhavasmin Tekena bija avirulhichanda nibbanti dhira yathayang padipo idampi sanghe ratanang panitang etena saccena suvatti hotu Yani dabhutani samagatani bhummani vayani vayantalikhe Tathagatam deva manusa pujitam buddhang namassama suvatti hotu Yani dabhutani samagatani bhummani vayani vayantalikhe Tathagatam deva manusa pujitam dhammang namassama suvatti hotu Yani dabhutani samagatani bhummani vayani vayantalikhe Tathagatam deva manusa pujitam sangham namassama suvatti hotu Etena sacca vajjena sabba dukkhang vinassatu Etena sacca vajjena sabba bhayo vinassatu Etena sacca vajjena sabba rogo vinassatu Sambhitiyo vivajjantu sabba rogo vinassatu Mate bhavatvantarayo sukhi digahayuko bhava Bhavatu sabba mangalang rakhantu sabba devata Sabba buddhanubhavena sada sutti bhavantu te Bhavatu sabba mangalang rakhantu sabba devata Sabba dhammanubhavena sada sutti bhavantu te Bhavatu sabba mangalang rakhantu sabba devata Sabba sanghanubhavena sada sutti bhavantu te Devo vassatu kalena sassa sampatti hetu ce Pito bhavatu loko ce raja bhavatu dhammiko Akasattha ca bhummattha devanaga mahiddhika Punyantang anumoditva cirang rakhantu loka sasanang Akasattha ca bhummattha devanaga mahiddhika Punyantang anumoditva cirang rakhantu dhamma desanang Akasattha ca bhummattha devanaga mahiddhika Punyantang anumoditva cirang rakhantu mam paranti Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Okay, so you have been joining us to our daily Buddha Vandana, worshipping the Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha, and also listening to chanting. So the chanting is always dedicated, especially during this lockdown time, for everyone participating and your family and friends. May everyone enjoy good health, may you be happy, may you be peaceful. The chanting was also dedicated to all the key workers for their tireless effort to look after the COVID-19 patients. May they gain more courage and energy to continue their valuable services. May everyone affected by COVID-19 also recover quickly. May they gain good health and enjoy happiness. So we dedicate our chanting every day for everyone's well-being. Okay, so let us take this brief time to do Metta Bhavana before we start our meditation on mindfulness. So please join us for our regular focus on developing loving kindness. So the quick recap. Loving kindness is a well-wishing attitude. It's obviously the opposite of ill-wishing, which means what brings things to our mind such as anger, hate, jealousy, grudges, all because of our personality being put at the forefront between others and yourself, or even just yourself as well. So we try to let go of those and develop a type of friendship attitude, well-being attitude, wishing everyone the same happiness that you would want to have wished for yourself. So you can contemplate on these lines while you are closing your eyes. May I be well, happy, and peaceful. May no harm come to me. May no problems come to me. May no difficulties come to me. May I always meet with success. May I also have the patience, courage, and understanding to meet and overcome difficulties in life. May I be free from pain and suffering. And now we wish similar thoughts to everyone that you're associated with. Skip the stations if they are not related. May my parents, grandparents, teachers, uncles and aunts and in-laws, may my children, grandchildren, brothers and sisters, cousins, nephews and nieces, friends, colleagues at work, people in the neighborhood, including your immediate neighbors, neutral people that you meet daily. May they all be well, happy, and peaceful. May no harm come to them. May no problems come to them. May no difficulties come to them. May they always meet with success. May they also have the patience, courage, and understanding to meet and overcome difficulties in life. May they also be free from anger and jealousy. May they be free from pain and suffering. May all living beings, including your pets, birds, animals, and insects that come to your garden, seen or unseen beings, including all sentient beings. Be well, happy, and peaceful. May no harm come to them. May no problems come to them. May no difficulties come to them. May they always meet with success. May they also have the patience, courage, and understanding to meet and overcome difficulties in life. May they be free from pain and suffering. Okay. So, from now onwards is our weekly meditation. We practice meditation to develop what we call mindfulness. So hence I put the title as mindfulness. Thank you also for joining us. If you are from abroad, it's very bright and sunny here in UK. So despite the sunshine, if you are joining us, it is for a good cause. So well done and thank you for joining. So we do this every Thursday to reflect on mindfulness and practice with partial guidance and then partial your own practice for until 8 o'clock British Standard Time. So I hope some of you are already acquainted with mindfulness, but if you are not, mindfulness is a concept in Buddhism, and the word is called sati. So it is like being aware or awareness. So as you know, it has come into the Western world with the word mindfulness into many fields. Every public sphere has a bit of training for mindfulness because it has been quite helpful for people, whether you are healthy or whether you are ill, to maintain a good balance in your day-to-day life. So it is quite important to be able to sit down and contemplate and let your mind settle for a while. When I was speaking to some people a long time ago, they would say, why do we need to meditate? And that is quite a question everyone asks. Again, people also say, oh, my mind wanders everywhere, so I can't meditate and I don't want to meditate. So you can see that there is a bit of misunderstanding. Wandering mind is one of the things that we try to observe. So it doesn't matter if your mind wanders, it doesn't matter if your mind is active, but we develop what we call mindfulness, a skill of that we call mindfulness. So it is quite important. So just imagine a day, a hectic day, always busy, always actively working very hard. Excuse me. And your poor mind, which is trapped in this body or in these six senses, seem to get overstretched. If I use that word, it seems to get overstretched. So I ask those people who ask, why? I say, imagine take a sponge and let some water drip into it, bit by bit, bit by bit. So if you hold the sponge under the tap, it's dripping, 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 and the sponge can hold certain amount. Now those water droplets are like, the information that come to your mind or the things that you are dealing every day at every moment. And as you can observe and see, sometimes when the hectic day starts, and then, it is quite hectic throughout the day, you tend to slowly, notice that your mind is getting frustrated, irritated. A simple error becomes something that you have to fight or argue. Even when someone, talks to you with in a loving tone, you still get angry, or you still actually personalize something. You take that moment with great stress. So it's like that sponge dripping from below now. So the water is the mind can take a certain amount, and then after that it starts dripping down. And then obviously the more droplets come to the sponge, equally sometimes they either go differently, they drop to the floor or the sink, the way wherever you are. So our mind is like that, when lots of things are being churned deep inside, churning, churning, churning. We tend to be a bit overstretched, and then sometimes it's like overloaded with information, overloaded with activities, and the poor mind cannot cope. And then it starts leaking out through frustration, irritation, and all the examples I gave before. So if you take aside, or if you take a routine in your day-to-day activities, make it a routine to meditate a couple of minutes. It's like taking that sponge and squeezing every drop of water, just completely trying to stop your mind from thinking, just observing, stop the mind from being active. So when you squeeze the sponge, you can then hold, and then it can actually take more water. And then when it starts showing signs, then you can take a squeeze. So if you develop this skill of meditation, it is like giving your time a little bit, giving time for your mind for that good health, because obviously mind needs to be kept healthy. Otherwise, whatever you're doing is not worth. Whatever you're doing is not good. We are of two phenomena, mind and body. We take so much time looking after our body, taking healthy food, exercise, diet, or cleaning, doing makeup, washing, taking every care for our body, which is still beyond your control. We've spent very little time for this mind, which is more valuable than the body. Because whatever goes through your mind is what actually comes out, from your actions, words, and thoughts. So meditation, so it is important to meditate for that reason. Doesn't matter if your mind wanders, doesn't matter if your mind is busy, have some time dedicated. Although we do meditation every day, but we focus on mindfulness plus or not loving kindness together, supporting each meditation. But this is just trying to talk about mindfulness today. So we need that time to actually, for yourself. And as I said, when it is overstretched, you can see, even when you close your eyes for a couple of seconds, all the things starts running like a videotape. Whatever you've been doing, so the subconsciously, everything is starting to come up. So what happened today starts playing as a record. You start looking for how to better them, how to make them better, or how you start actually analyzing them, giving your thoughts. when it is, even if it is with someone else, you still actually churn the ideas, analyze. You keep on thinking. Sometimes you might be, just whatever is in your to-do list will start coming up as soon as you close your eyes and you're thinking of the future, always thinking. So as soon as, even if you give that 5 minutes, even when there is an advertisement on the telly that you're watching and suddenly you just switch off yourself from the telly and then thoughts start coming inside. Sometimes when you're eating, but then your mind is somewhere else thinking because it's so heavily overstretched and thinking a lot. So we are not mindful. We are not mindful of what we are doing. Neither watching TV, neither eating, neither doing some work. People do say, oh, this is multitasking, but actually it is not. It can look like multitasking, but whatever you're doing, you're like worrying and doing. You are doing things out of fear. You are doing things out of anxiety. You are doing things out of worries. You're doing things out of hate. You are planning things out of certain necessities that you have. So there's so much going behind the scene. We are not mindful. We are just human machines. We are not human beings. We are human doings sometimes. So it is important to actually, reflect like that and to see the importance of mindfulness. So lots of the time, so last week we focused on that how the experiences, how the events that happen, that you do daily, they're always sometimes partly habitual. You habitually do so many things. Sometimes even when you are sleeping, you sometimes turn around because you feel your body is a bit uncomfortable. When you're sitting without noticing, we turn around. So habitual actions, habitual thinking. So this mind is within these senses of the body, and so last week we discussed about how, how we create the ideas or how our thoughts come to us. So we discussed that, in the event that you have awareness and your eyes are open, your naked eyes, and there is an object, you see those things. When the three are present, you identify and you start forming an opinion. So every day, our senses are open to feelings, I call, according to Buddhism, or contact, if you want to call it. We hear sounds, we hear, we see things, we taste things, we smell things, we feel from our body, and we also think things. So mind becomes a sense where the platform for thoughts to arise. So in these six senses, there's so many things that, from the moment we wake up, the moment we are aware, it's happening. Now, how much of it is mindfully done, I don't know. But we're always doing it. So every time, our mind is tuning to those six senses channel. If you see, the mind goes to the eye. If you hear, the mind goes to the ear. If you taste, mind goes to the tongue. If you smell, mind goes to the nose. If you feel something, mind is in there. So where there is that awareness, then only you have those consciousnesses. So we call those eye conscious, ear conscious, nose conscious, tongue conscious, body conscious, mind conscious. Now, it doesn't stop there. Okay, it doesn't stop there, because as a spider goes, and when the cobweb vibrates, the spider will go to the object and then analyze it. We also have that habit from the center of the senses. We go to those and we start analyzing. we analyze the object that enters, the data that enters through your senses, and we make a judgment. And now that judgment comes from our personal fixed views, sometimes greed. So we have value judgment for everything that we encounter. And that value judgment process becomes a bit unhealthy the more we keep on working on that. Okay? So it is habitually done out of delusion. No? We form opinions. We make value judgments. We begin to interpret everything that comes to that we encounter. That's a good way to put it. We interpret everything in our terms. Even headache, oh, my head is hurting. So we interpret the feeling in a way, oh, that is a nice flower, beautiful flower. Nice song, nice smell. See, we're making judgments. Nice taste, or the opposite. Oh, it's a bad smell. It's not a nice song. Or just look at that. Look at that picture. It's so ugly. Or so we form. We start applying values to whatever we see. Now those values come from our experiences. Remember, from our memories, from our personal, self-calculated judgments or conclusions that we have when it comes to people. We've already decided who the person is before we speak sometimes. So imagine when someone has had an argument, so next time this person comes in front of you, you will start already speaking to the person with a conclusive mind. I'm not going to actually let this person win sometimes. Or this is this type of person, I need to be careful. So can you see, our fixed views, prejudiced views starts habitually coming at the forefront. And sometimes we aren't aware of this. And this is where problems start, proliferating. So last week we also, discussed that, if you remember, it is not that encounter, the problem is not that encounter, the problem is what do we do with that thought? Do we allow it to proliferate? Do you allow it to actually flower into more, what I called, bandwagon of thoughts, continuing it to actually go further, and we sometimes, because of the ego and the fixed prejudice views and self-centered attitude, what we do is we want ourselves to win in that situation, and we create a deluded ego or a deluded I in that scenario. I am experiencing this. This is me experiencing, and we want this me to be happy. So whatever comes against it is not a preferable option. So you can see, that when we develop mindfulness, actually we tend to sort of be aware of this process without, and we don't add values. We don't make judgments. Because when we make judgments, we feel victimized. We feel when we personalize everything that is happening, we feel, sometimes upset because we are not, experiencing as it is, because we are interpreting the thing in your terms. Let the flower speak its beauty. Let the sound speak its beauty. let the pain explain itself what it is, not like my head, my leg is hurting. So observing an incident, observing our experience as they are, is what we say mindfulness. Without interpretation, without value judgment, without proliferating into other formations of ideas, without jumping into the bandwagon of thoughts. So don't form an opinion of whatever happens. So in mindfulness, we try to just be with that experience, whether it is with the eyes, eye consciousness, so be with the seeing. In the ear consciousness, when we are aware at the ear base, we be with the hearing. We are not listening, we are being with the hearing. So we are just hearing as it is, a sound as sound. When we are at the nose consciousness, or when our mind is, when we categorize that as nose consciousness, we are being with the smell, we are being with the taste, we are being with the feeling, not whether or good and bad, or indifferent type of opinions or judgments straight away. Habitually we make this judgment, we stop doing that. So in the mindful practice is about being with that. Because where there is that mindfulness, there is that understanding of reality. Okay? So wisdom in Buddhism is sati, or that mindfulness. If you're mindful, you do not allow your thoughts or mind to proliferate. So the word is keeping mindfulness at the forefront, just at the end. So just mindfulness everywhere. Because last week I said, if you remember, if last week, sometimes we are aware once we are in the wagon of thoughts. Sometimes we are aware once it's finished. That means, sometimes, whatever you saw is not there, but you are thinking about it, and then you realize actually, the car is already gone, but you're still thinking about what you saw. So you can see that you are aware once it's gone. So you are aware at the ceasing point sometimes, when your mind is trying to go to something else. So what is quite common is, when we develop mindfulness, we tend to, be aware of the coming and the going. So if your mind encountered a seeing, now we have to be aware of that pinpoint of when it started. Then only you can actually let it go. Otherwise, something's happened before you let it go. So recognizing the starting point is quite important. So don't discourage yourself, even when it happens. Once you recognize that you are in that wagon of thoughts, then be mindful of that and let it go. Okay, so we can't, as I said, we can't be doing all our strokes in swimming until you start to practice little by little. You can't swim quickly and learn everything in one go. So like that, if it happens in the thought processes, okay, that's fine. That means you are thinking. So we recognize the thinking point. This is, the mind is thinking, and we let it go. But we discussed that there are times when we see things when it finishes, because then it comes from the memory. Okay? And like, especially when you close your eyes, you might have your thoughts coming because your eyes are closed. So it's everything. You can see how active the mind is. It's wanting to do things, as I said before, wanting to rewrite stories behind emotions, wanting to So wanting to plan things. Now it is quite important to see that, if these do come, we need to actually see this come. Because when you go deeper and deeper, as I said, if you see that it's finishing, that's very good. Then that gives a very good moment to see something else arise. So it's like backtracing. Okay, so when you see something cease and you let it go, and that sharp moment, that very sharp split second moment, you can see something arise. Now that might be quite tricky, isn't it? If you can see something come, you can let it go because you have the ability, you have a choice what to do. But sometimes we are not there. We might only be aware when it is happening, then we let go. Once we let go, and we bring our attention back to breathing, and we focus on that breath, but suddenly if the mind wanders again, so be aware where the mind is. So what I'm actually trying to come to the point is, in the next few minutes, I can quickly finish this, is that lots of thoughts are caused through the experiences that we have. We call it mental formations. Now these mental formations also have the ability to come and go. So when we say that something is impermanent, even that split second of change of emotion is also, or whatever has come is also impermanent. So the thought processes are impermanent because they come and go. If we be mindful of that, it's quite interesting to see how we have this ability to be free. We can choose to be free. I think I remember using this analogy of a football goalkeeper. The goalkeeper, once he sees the ball coming, then only can choose what to do. Either to catch it, that is, hold it. So we also do that. We hold on to our thoughts, emotions, we cling on to that. And that is what we do most of the time. We keep on holding on to that ball. But if you see the ball coming, and if a goalkeeper, then goalkeeper also has a choice to do whether to actually just see it come. Yes, you're in contact. You just punch and let it go. So when we see the emotions come, we can let it go as soon as it comes. That is only when you're aware that it is coming. So you can see when you develop your mind, when your mindfulness is sort of developed to a certain stage, you are in control. You can actually you have a choice what to do, whether to stick with it and either cling to it and then all again let it proliferate into many things and nurture your ego, nurture your anger, nurture your greed, nurture your personality, or you simply let it go. All our experiences, as soon as we make a value judgment, this is what happens. We have cling on to that football. All the encounters that I said before is like, if you make a judgment, you have held the ball. Okay, so we have to see it come and we have to just let it go. Okay, and this is the practice we're trying to do, so that our mind is free of value judgments. Our mind is free from anger. Our mind is free from conceptualizing. Our mind is free from perceptions. Our mind is free from confusion. Because the more you practice mindfulness, the happier, the clearer your mind is also. I'll finish off with one small analogy, which I've used sometime before. Our mind is like, we have to be like, mindfulness is like a mirror. Just let it resemble what is happening. Because in the mirror, you can't add things to it. You can't start painting yourself on the mirror. Like that, just observe what is happening at the moment. It's like that mirror. So it's just reflection. So mindfulness is like that reflection. Whatever is happening, it reflects as it is. And mindfulness is that. Okay, so it's quite interesting so you can develop this understanding. So mindfulness is wherever your mind goes, and just being aware of the things that happen. So there are 4 types where we establish our mindfulness, because this is the 4 way how our experience takes place. It can be in the body. So when your mind is, when you're physically moving, you can be mindful. Now I'm a bit thirsty, so I'm mindful of my thirst. I'm drinking, so this is mindful. I'm drinking. I try to make no judgment of what I'm drinking. It's water, I drink. So if I was mindful of the movement of my arm holding the glass, so this is mindfulness of my movement of the physical body. Because of movement, so when you sit down, when you walk, when you go to your bed, when you eat, every physical movement can be done mindfully. So if you're doing that, that is mindfulness in the body. So some of you who are used to the abdomen observation in meditation, the mindfulness of the swell, rising and falling of the abdomen, is also putting that in the body. So we do a body scan. So that is about, trying to help us develop mindfulness of the body, to realize the presence of things in the body. So when the sensation, the touch, or even the pain, the feelings that come through the contact is, you can put your mind in that, if your bottom is hurting, or if your back is aching, or if your, whatever is happening in terms of sensation, you can do it as, if your mind goes there during meditation, you put it there. You just observe that sensation as it is. We're not thinking, oh, my leg is hurting. If your mind is sort of, you come to an aware that your mind has wandered, then we observe as wandering mind. Sadness, happiness, anything is fine. They're all, objects for meditation. Not just your body or feeling, but your thoughts, emotions, everything is an object. It's very valuable, if it comes to your mind, just be aware of it, that it is present. Just be aware that like the ball is coming to the goalpost. Just be aware that this emotion is coming now. And when you're aware, identify it as thinking or wondering or worrying or anxious or anxiety, and let it go. So you need to identify that this is a ball coming, then only you can let it go. So if your mind, as soon as you close your eyes and you start wandering, fair enough, it's okay not to worry. You don't have to let it be at one place, because this is about mindfulness, remember? And then take that as a strong meditation object, and then observe that, see that. But when you let it go, you can be mindful that there is an absence of worry at the moment. So that is arise and ceasing, Dhamma, is gone, Earlier, the absence of pain is also, if you note that is Dhammanupassana. absence of emotion, absence of thought is Dhammanupassana, establishing mindfulness in the change as it happens. So when you see it come and you see it go, that is also Udaya Vaya, arise and cease. So establishing mindfulness on the absence of things, that is also mindfulness. So there are many ways you can develop this while you sit down for the next 20 minutes. Okay, not just your breathing. So breathing is the focal point, that is your whole. So when I say 3 R's, so whatever your mind engages becomes recognizing, letting go is release, coming back to your breathing is return. Recognize, release, return. So 3 R's. So as you breathe in and when your mind wanders, always recognize what it's doing, let it go, come back to breathing. Okay, so with that brief introduction, and we will do meditation for about 20-25 minutes. So I have 3 instructions for you to start off with. Since you've been sitting down for more than an hour, you might want to adjust yourself. So feel free to move. But once you've decided that this is the posture that's going to be conducive for the next 20-25 minutes, once you've made that, okay, be mindful of that choice. Okay, remember I'm saying be mindful of that choice that you've made, and then be determined that you're not going to move. You're not going to move for the next few minutes until your meditation is over. So the first request is have a balanced body. Sit straight, not slanting, not resting, not putting elbows on the table, free from everything, upright body, unless you have a physical disability, that you can't sit straight and you have to rest. Otherwise, if you can, avoid leaning on the chair or even the sofa that you're sitting or the wall that you are leaning on. So keep your body balanced upright. The second is put your right hand on your left palm and then place them on your lap, which can also be a support for your upright body. And gently close your eyes, not tightly, just gently. Okay, so once you've had that posture, first of all, just be mindful of how your body is sitting. Very peaceful, very calm, completely in contrast with how it was before you started to sit down for worship, chanting, and meditation. So your active body has just ceased to exist in action. Very quiet. See, that is the change. Notice that. Be aware of that serene, calm body. If you come out of your body, you can see your entire body as a whole. If you have your friends or family sitting with you, just be mindful of their presence in the room. Be mindful of the infrastructure in the room that you are. And coming to your body again. So we do a scanning of the body to help our mind settle down. Mind went. So we train our mind not to look for things, but just observe that point of attention. So for example, if I say feet, my attention went to the touch of my feet on the car floor. So I'll be observing that sensation as touch and just observe, notice its presence. I'm making no judgment, just noticing its presence in that station. can be warmth, it can be coldness, it can be pain, it can be cold, heat. So whatever your mind took as point of attention, just observe that without any judgment. Okay, so just notice its presence. So the stations will only be called, and you just spend a few moments observing the presence of whatever as it is. Don't look for things. So feet, ankles. So if you're sitting cross-legged, you might sense the touch on the floor or carpet. Outer ankles and inner ankles might be touching your leg. So ankles. Your calf to your knees. There's nothing that your mind is in attention, just observe the nothingness even. Your thighs and your bottom. It could be the pressure, the touch. You might even sense your weight. So whatever grabbed your attention, just observe and notice its presence. Your waist. Straight back. Shoulders. Down through your arms to your elbows. Your hands. So up your neck to your head and your face. So you can see how we have trained the mind to be at each station. So mind must not have wandered. So like that, now you do the reverse order yourself from head to toe. spending a couple of seconds, about 10 seconds per station or so. Just go to the station, pay attention to what your mind is attracted to, and then just observe and notice without any judgment. Just notice the presence of whatever it is. For the next 2 minutes, you'll be doing yourself head to toe. Scan your body. And again, come out of your body and just observe the whole body as a whole. You can notice the serene, quietness, calm presence in the body. No movement, nothing. Just be mindful of the way your body is sitting. So only one thing that is quite active was the breath, which we didn't pay attention to, we didn't notice before. And you can now bring your attention to your breathing and just observe that in-breath. And as you let it go, you can observe the out-breath. So breathe in from your nostrils and breathe out from your nostrils. Breathing in, breathing out. Okay, so we train our mind to be at the breathing point, which helps us develop our concentration. Should your mind pay attention to other things, remember, just make it a mirror. Observe as it is, nothing more, no judgment, nothing. So train your mind to just see it as it is. Remember 3 things: recognize, release, and return. So if you're new, you can use the counting method. So your breathing in point becomes 1. As you breathe in, the continuity becomes 2. And the last moment When you stop taking your in-breath, that is 3. When you release, starting point becomes 3, continuity 2, ending point 1. So recognize those, if you are not used to just observing your in-breath and out-breath. So 1, 2, 3, 3, 2, 1. So in your head, you're going to count 1, 2, 3, 3, 2. So others can just observe the in-breath as a whole. So as you breathe in, you can imagine the whole gush of air going through your nostrils and stay with that duration as a whole and observe the finish of the breathing in. Similarly, as you breathe out, breathing out, stay with the breath entirely until the last moment and be aware of the last moment. Breathing in, breathing out. Breathing in, breathing out. 1, 2, 3, 3, 2. If your mind wanders, remember to recognize what it was doing. So return by letting it go to your breathing. Recognize, release, return. If you lose your counting, it's okay. You can just start counting from 1 again. Okay, so that is the end of our practice. So next Thursday we'll practice longer, which means I might speak less. Okay, so we'll try to finish at 8 o'clock. So thank you for joining us today for our weekly session on developing mindfulness, guidance, reflection, guidance, and practice. Every day we do meditation on loving kindness. Today we did on mindfulness. So please do join us whenever you're free. So every day we have Buddha Puja, chanting to bless everyone as well. So if your friends don't have Facebook, direct them to YouTube lmmc.online. Okay. So this Sunday we have a sutta discussion at 10 o'clock British Standard Time based on Sabbasa Sutta, and it is conducted by Most Venerable Dr. Pullumare Sorata Mahathira, my teacher. If you want, please request for the Zoom link, 10 o'clock on Sunday. The same day being the last Sunday of the month, we have our monthly Dhamma sermon. It will also be held at 7 o'clock. So our meditation on my Metta Bhavana will not have any reflection as I normally do, because we need time for that sermon, 7 to 8. Okay, it will be in Sinhala medium. So please do join us if you are attending. Okay, so thank you for joining us so far. Have a lovely evening. Okay, take care. Bye-bye.